Hello and welcome to Porsche Cup C6 Bank MasterCard Endurance Championship as we are ready to start the 2022 season at the beautiful 3,805 meters Termas do Rio Hondo circuit in Argentina. We had already lots of action Thursday and Friday in this track with two races each for Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge Sprint Championship. Now the regular drivers will be joined by their guests in this 300 kilometers race for the Endurance Championship. We'll start first with qualifying this morning, and then we'll have this afternoon the first race this year for the 2022 Cup C6 Bank MasterCard Endurance. You're going to follow all this action at Termas de Rio Hondo circuit with me, Sergio Lago, and Felipe Mota, who is anchor and journalist for ESPN Brazil. Hello, Felipe.
Hello, Sergio. It's a huge pleasure to be with you in this broadcast. What a pleasure to be here. Porsche, we all know, is a dream for cars, and Porsche Carrera Cup is a dream for series. Very well organized, and now with this race in Argentina. And I don't know if everybody knows in Motorsport TV or listeners or viewers, Argentina is a country crazy about motorsport. They love racing, and I am quite sure we will have a very nice event in this Sunday. High expectation, and of course, what a grid. What a fantastic drivers. We have former Formula One drivers as Rubens Barrichello, Ricardo Zonta, Nelson Piquet Jr., and of course, international drivers, former GP2, F2 drivers, Formula 3. For example, Attila Abreu is a driver who raced with Sebastian Vettel on Formula 3 in Germany. So they were teammates. We have Diego Nunes, who raced in GP2. You know, the names are huge, and of course, I expect a very interesting qualifying and then a very interesting race in this Sunday, that in Brazil is the Father's Day. So, Sergio, for you and all the viewers, a happy Father's Day, and let's get started, my friend. Let's go.
Thank you, Felipe. Happy Father's Day to you and to everybody as well. We'll have now the two qualifying sessions for the Carrera Cup. There we see Georgios Frangoulis. First, the regular drivers will hit the track. Actually, the drivers with the lesser BOP, that in general, there will be the regular drivers. And then the guests will hit the track, and the average time of the best time of each group will determine the pole position for the race this afternoon. So there are two fast sessions. The drivers have to give their best. It's not a lot of time, it's just 10 minutes and it's already counting. So first now we have the regular drivers for the category, and we'll have, Felipe, 24 cars for the Carrera Cup endurance, first endurance race of this year, and 10 cars for Sprint Challenge. It was a big logistics from Porsche Cup Brazil to bring all these cars to Argentina, but the result is this show that we are just starting to watch right now.
Yeah, you are sure, my friend. We have a very well-organized series. Of course, when we mentioned the series in Brazil, Porsche Carrera Cup, Porsche Brazil is the most well-organized, and logistic to have a race outside Brazil is not easy. You know, of course, Brazil is huge, but when you think from São Paulo, which is the basis of the headquarters of Porsche in Brazil, to go to the Argentina is not that far, but the logistic is not just related to the distance. You know, all the things you have to do, you know, you have to manage to take all the cars, the teams, the drivers to another country. So what Carrera Cup does is huge. It's huge, and they are doing this for a long, long time and just getting better. So this event is amazing. It's not by chance. We have so many good drivers racing in Porsche Carrera Cup.
Edu Guedes was the first driver to hit the track. Probably he'll be the first to set up a time. There we see Lineu Pires with the number 888. He will drive, his guest driver will be Beto Grassi. We see now 7 minutes and a half about to finish this first section. Need to be very interesting as well. We'll have new rules for this year for the Carrera Cup. It's also the first race, Felipe, with the 992 generation for the guest drivers. The 992 started being used by Porsche Cup. This year in Brazil, we had already 4 rounds for the Sprint Championship for both Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge. But this is the first endurance race of the season at Termas de Rio Hondo. Then we'll have at Goiânia and in Interlagos. And for the guest drivers, for most of them, or if not for all of them, it is being their first contact with the 992, Felipe.
Exactly. I have been in Interlagos race. It was amazing, to see pretty close the cars. They are beautiful. They are safe. The brakes get a lot of better this season than the previous year. So the drivers were much happier with the conditions they have to race, to fight against another drivers. And for sure, this new car, the 992, is a step ahead for Porsche Cup, to become even stronger in this history.
There you see number 73, it's Adroaldo Weissmeyer. He's going to race with Enzo Elias. Enzo Elias is the regular driver, but in this case, he's BOP. He's considered a better driver than Adroaldo, so he will be in the second session of qualifying. And there you have number 73. With now, Felipe, half of the time for this first session is pretty much already gone. And Lineu Pires has the best time so far with the number 888. Carlos Ambrosio with the number 9, and then Rodrigo Melo and Nelson Piquet Jr. Rodrigo Melo has the third best time so far.
Yeah, exactly. This car, the purple car, which is very, very beautiful. Rodrigo Melo and Nelson Piquet Jr., they are close friends outside the track. Very, very strong, pair of drivers to fight for the pole position in this qualifying. They are third now, and they are trying to push to get even better this time.
We have to remember that are 2 subclasses in the Porsche Carrera Cup as well as in the Sprint Challenge, and it's the sport class and the rookie class. So out of the 24 cars competing in the Carrera Cup endurance race, 7 are the main Carrera Cup, so are the top guys, let's say, with more experience, most of them professional drivers, or at least some of them. Then we have 7 cars in the sport class and then 10 in the rookie class. This is the qualifying for the Carrera Cup Endurance Championship. Then right afterwards, we'll have the qualifying for the Sprint Challenge, which will have 10 cars, will be 4 overall for the challenge, Sprint Challenge, 1 car only in the sports class, and then 5 cars in the rookie class.
Yeah, this is very important. We have a lot of situations of drivers starting the series and getting better and better and better, and change the series as time goes by. So driver can be in a rookie series in a rookie level this season in 3-4 years time to be in the Carrera Cup main series. So it's very important to watch those names and follow their steps to understand if they will, rise as stars of the series.
There we see Werner Neugebauer. Werner Neugebauer, who won the race for the Carrera Cup Sprint Championship on Thursday, the first race of the weekend. He started on the pole. He won from start to end, so it's great driver. He knows very well this circuit. He was also the last winner here in the sprint races when the Porsche Cup was before in Termas de Rio Hondo. So it was 2018. So it's a very skilled driver. Let's see what will be his time. Right now, Lineu Pires with number 888 is ahead. Oh, problems for the number 73 with Aldoado Weismeyer. Miguel Paludo is in the number 7. Go ahead, Felipe.
Yeah, he spun. He was, doing a fast time, trying to improve his lap. But now the situation is pretty tough with 2 minutes to go in this Group A of the qualifying.
Miguel Paludo didn't have a good round here for the sprint races for the Carrera Cup. He is 7 times champion of the Carrera Cup, but he was involved in an accident in the race on Thursday and had to come from behind on Friday. He finished 7th. But anyway, let's wait and see. He was the 5th fastest yesterday in the practice sessions. There we see Miguel Paludo. Jeff Giassi is the fastest car so far. Now Paludo sets the fastest car lap. So great work by Miguel Paludo, trying to recuperate from a not so good races on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, he's an outstanding driver. I'm pretty sure people know him as a NASCAR driver. He raced in the Truck Series championship, and some race, better than anyone in Brazil. His career in US and in Porsche, he's one of the top drivers ever. One of the biggest names of all time on Porsche Carrera Cup.
Yes, this year he raced 3 times for the NASCAR in the NASCAR category in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Christian Hahn is the 2nd fastest so far. Great work by Christian Hahn, and then Lineu Pires is 3rd. We follow now Rodrigo Melo with his car number 29, and ahead of him we have Lucas Salles. Lucas Salles, who is also a very good driver. Lucas Salles competes for the sport class, but sometimes he mixes with the main guys. He's a really fast driver as well. And the time is up, Felipe. Drivers are doing their last laps there, and we'll soon find out who will be the fastest in this first qualifying session.
For sure. Then we are watching the Rodrigo Melo doing his time, and it's Elias again. Yeah.
No, it's Francisco Horta, Fran Horta.
Francisco Horta with a problem, taking his car in not a dangerous position, but everybody needs to watch out, because they are doing the turn. Now he came back.
Yeah, we see the checkered flag there. Miguel Paludo is the fastest. Some cars are still trying to improve their times. Renan Pizzi is 2nd at this point. Renan Pizzi, who is also a very fast driver. And then we have Christian Hahn, Rodrigo Melo. Oh no, Jeff Giassi now is the 3rd fastest driver. He put Christian Hahn to 4th, Rodrigo Melo 5th, and Werner Neugebauer is in 6th. We still have some drivers. Trying to improve their times. There you see Franco Giaffoni. Let's see what Franco Giaffoni can do, if he can improve his time. And he goes to 10th. Good time. He was way behind. Franco Giaffoni got 10th best time. And Felipe, that was fast, Felipe. Paludo, Pizzi, Jeff Giassi, Christian Ham, Lucas Salles, Rodrigo Melo, Werner Neugebauer, Lineu Pires, Carlos Ambrosio, and Franco Giaffoni, the top 10 in this first qualifying session for the Carrera Cup. Then we'll have, in 15 minutes about, we'll have the second qualifying sessions with all the guest drivers, Felipe, and we'll see some of the best drivers in the world.
Yeah, for sure. What a lap! What a lap of Miguel Paludo, because he did 1:42.069. He was almost 3 tenths faster than Pizzi, the second one, and then from Pizzi, the second, to, let me see, Werner Pires. Yeah, to the Pires. The second to the eighth, the difference was just 2 tenths. So what Paludo did was outstanding, a fantastic lap. You know, as you mentioned, in the sprint, he had a lot of problems with an accident, and then he had to recover, you know, from Thursday race to this Friday race. And he lost a little of, you know, gap and a little points in terms of the championship. And now he started the endurance race really strong in this qualifying, doing the best lap, Sergio.
Yes, it was Lineu Pires with the Porsche number 888. He's having a great week of racing here at Termas de Rio Hondo. He competes for the rookie class, and he's already showing that he easily could be in the sport class. Now it's time for driver changes, so they are exchanging information as well. That's a very important moment, Felipe. Even though we know, of course, that in an endurance race, it's important to survive the first laps.
Exactly.
You cannot, you know, it's not like, of course, starting ahead is very, very important in any race, but more important than anything is to survive, Felipe.
Of course, the dynamic of the race is totally different, you know, because in a long race, in an endurance race, you have to survive. Not always the most intelligent thing is, you know, to fight for the position on the track, you know, fighting hard and maybe taking risk. It's more, of course, you have to overtake. Of course, you have to battle, but to fight for positions. But your main race is against the clock, doing lap after lap in the same level, in the same pace. Consistency is the word, not just, you know, to be fast, you know, do the fastest lap. And this moment, as you mentioned, when one driver talk to his teammate, it's very important, very valuable, because they have to share experience, share information with the other driver, with the team, and it's really important to have in the car a setup who suits both driver. You cannot be fast with one driver and slow with another driver. So they are pushing hard to have a very balanced car with a setup who help the driving style of both drivers. And I have another comment here, Sergio. The track, the circuit of Termas do Rio Hondo is amazing. You can see in the images, it's a top level circuit, top level venue. It's really nice to be broadcasting a race in this place in Argentina. It's an outstanding place to have a race.
Yeah, it receives MotoGP, so that only that by itself says how good is this circuit, how modern and how important it is worldwide. And it's a 3,805 meters circuit, and it has a straight, the back straight has a little bit over 1 kilometer. It's 1,070 meters, and cars there, Felipe, go up to 200, the Porsche cars, of course, go up to 260 kilometers per hour, and then they have to brake back to 70 kilometers per hour. So it's a heavy braking zone. It's very challenging for the drivers, and we saw it's a great opportunity to overtake there. We saw that happening during the sprint races we had on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing the track as just a track as a layout. The circuit, it's amazing. The facilities are great, and the when we have this high view, the cameras in a high position, you can see the venue as it are, as it is, a very nice place outside the track as well. So it's a very important weekend for the Porsche, not just as a Brazilian series, but one of the most competitive Porsche Carrera Cup in all the world.
Yes, this year we'll have some new rules for the endurance races, for the 3 endurance races we will have in the championship. There we see the problem with the driver of the number 73, which was Adroaldo Weissmeyer. But Felipe, points will be awarded pretty much in half of the race. So there will be a point system, because up to last year, points were awarded only at the end of the race. But as we have only 3 races for the championship, the races will be divided in 2 segments. So the first segment, which is in about half of the race, for example, this race that we're going to watch later this afternoon, starting around 1 p.m. local and Brazilian time, 4 p.m. GMT, or 12 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. At this race, the first segment will go up to lap 32, and the second segment will go to the end of the race, will be up to lap 63. So it will be pretty much split in half the race, and you drivers will be awarded points for their positions after the first segment, as long as they had made at least 1 pit stop, the mandatory pit stop, and as long as they had completed 75% of the half part of the race. So it's 32 laps. They have to complete in 24 laps to be awarded points in the first half.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I like it, this new rule, because as we mentioned in the beginning of the qualifying broadcast, when we have endurance race, the most important thing is the pace, is the consistency. But when you share the race, when you split the race in 2, you kind of obligate the drivers to be really fast in the first part of the race as well, giving a kind of highlight as well to battle, to fight for positions in the first half of the race. So I like it. I think we will have a much more aggressive race in the first half in comparison with the other seasons, and I'm quite anxious to see how they will fight. We have a all. Yeah,
exactly.
We can listen. We can even listen the birds.
Watch out, Felipe.
Exactly.
It's a predatory bird. So predatory, I mean, it's a carnivore. It's a carnivore, so we better watch out. And the moon, it's beautiful as well. Great image of the moon. Yeah, Felipe, all you said is absolutely right. It will be incredible. I'm really excited to start one more season for the Porsche Cup Endurance Championship. And there'll be 3 great races. The last race will be in Interlagos in the first weekend of December, and the second race will be in Goiânia, so in October. So there will be 3 awesome races. And it's also important, I like, Felipe, to see the regular drivers and the guest drivers. So it's always lots of drivers involved in the third race in Interlagos. It will be 500 kilometers. So actually, each car might have 3 drivers if they want to.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I remember the last time I've been here in the broadcast. This combination on endurance to have fantastic drivers, you know, some new drivers, some regular drivers, and international stars level drivers racing. It's so nice. You know, we have a very nice combo grid with different experiences, different, you know, careers. And for example, Rubens Barrichello. I remember one day, Sergio, I did an interview with Rubens when he was in Formula One. I think it was, it was in 2009 when he was in Brown GP fighting for the championship. I did an interview, a funny interview asking, you know, those kind of quick questions about one dream, one place to visit, favorite food, and I asked a car that you dream to have, and he said Porsche. And imagine, I never had in 2009. So he was already a Ferrari driver, Brown GP driver, you know, like 15 years of Formula One at that moment. And he said, of course, I have money to have a Porsche, but I never had the time and the opportunity to buy one. So this is Rubens Barrichello speaking about a Porsche as a brand, not just as a series. We know that people who loves cars, they loves the top cars, and Porsche is one brand that when it's top of mind. You know, when you mention a nice car, a nice sportive car, even the fantastic drivers as Rubens Barrichello, they dream to have and to drive a Porsche car. So for me, this is interesting in endurance. You have the very famous and international drivers, a lot of stars, a lot of great drivers in Brazil, as Diego Nunes. We are watching Diego Nunes. He's a very good driver in stock car. He raced in GP2. He won races in GP2. So, and of course the regular drivers. And the regular drivers, this is Rubens Barrichello, very traditional helmet, all over the world. When you watch this helmet, you know it's Rubens Barrichello. So for this reason, I really like the endurance race on Porsche Carrera Cup, because all this mix, all these drivers, it's so nice to see them, you know, racing for victory.
Yeah, and it's very important moment now. All the drivers are ready to hit the track. And you mentioned the mythic about the Porsche cars, Felipe. One of the most important things I would say is that they are very, very reliable. They are fast, they are mean, and they are reliable. Because sometimes you have these sports cars. I'm not saying bad about any other car, but they might have problems. It's hard, but Porsche cars are reliable. You know that. You run and you run and you run, and they are still there. They don't give a problem to you most of the time. There is a car of Guilherme Salas is driving that car, that first Porsche. He's ready to hit the track. We are almost about to start the second session. There we have the green flag. So we have 10 minutes now for the guests to hit the track. The first one to hit the track is Guilherme Salas. He races with regular driver Alceu Feldman. So they are all coming. We saw it was really fast. Felipe, you mentioned Rubens Barrichello. He is partnering with Franco Giaffoni. It's in the sport class, and that's exactly the car for Rubens Barrichello. Car number 3 is waiting there to go to the track. He's still in the pits.
Yeah, Guilherme Salas is a very good driver as well. Rubens is waiting, huh? Rubens is waiting, watching for the camera. He's smiling for Motorsport TV. I am a big fan of Rubens, Sergio, because, you know, he's 50 years old. He won everything apart Formula One. title, but he won 11 races on Formula One. So he could be, retired. He could be, enjoying life. And this guy almost race every weekend. If you invite him now, let's race it. I don't know, a robot race. I don't know. You can create a series. He will go there to push. He loves to race. And we are having a ride with Rubens Barrichello on Motorsport TV.
Yeah, exactly. We see there Rubens Barrichello. Rubens Barrichello, who is going to hit the track. He is in the sport class with Franco Giaffoni, because Franco Giaffoni is from the sport class. Guilherme Salas, we follow Guilherme Salas with the Porsche #1. And Alceu Feldman, the duo, they were the fastest in the practice sessions yesterday. So they are looking very, very strong. And behind him, we have Nelson Piquet Jr., who races with Rodrigo Melo in the Porsche #29. So two great drivers already getting ready to set their times. Salas, Cesar Ramos is already on the track. Cesar Ramos, who is racing with the regular Georgia Frangoulis. There you see the turn 1 there. Felipe, is a very hard break there as well, and it's a very important spot. That's where we had many problemms during the sprint races. So all these drivers will have really to pay attention in the very beginning of the race, as we will have 34 cars in the race this afternoon, because the Carrera Cup and the Sprint Challenge, they race together when competing in the Endurance Championship.
Exactly. It's going to be a very big grid. So the situations that will be presented for the drivers will not be easy. I wouldn't use the word dangerous, but it's easy to find a problem in the race, to have a touch with another car. We have now 6 minutes to go and a lot of huge drivers. So let's be aware, because of any moment we can have a huge time lap, in this fight for a pole position.
This is Beto Grassi driving the 888. He partners with Lineu Pires. They are both in the rookie class. Of course, most of the time when we say the main Carrera Cup class, the rookie class, or the sport class, it's due to the regular driver, not to the guests. Because I would say pretty much, not all of them, but pretty much all of the guests are really top class drivers, are professional drivers, and they would be in the main class, in the Carrera Cup class. But it depends on what other drivers they are partnering with. But we've seen, Felipe, along the years, that duos from the rookie class or the sport class, they can definitely win races in the Endurance Championship.
For sure. This is really important. What is calling my attention now, Sergio, I'm sorry to change the subject, is we have the engine, the noise of the engine, and we have the birds. It's quite interesting. We have hundreds of horsepower of amazing cars, and then we can really listen sometimes the birds. This combination is quite unique in this venue.
There you have Attila Abreu, very accomplished driver as well. He currently competes in Brazilian stock car. Attila Abreu, who is partnering with Leo Sanchez. So there he comes. At this point, João Gonçalves is the fastest driver. Rubens Barrichello is second. Then in third, we have Denis Girani. But of course, this is all changing. Enzo Elias now sets the second best time. But the drivers, Felipe, are waiting for the very end of the session to set up their best times. There's still 1:44.58, 5:08 from driver João Gonçalves, which they really can improve these times for sure. So they're like 2-3 seconds behind what they can be. Now we have Rafael Suzuki, 142.529. Rafael Suzuki, who races with regular driver Lucas Salles. Second place is Piquet Jr. Piquet Jr., you always can see the second name there. That's the guest driver who are setting up their times now. Now Attila Abreu is second fastest. Piquet Jr. goes to third. Great work by Rafael Suzuki. Now the best time is from William Freire and Beto Gressi now. So it's very competitive this session, Felipe.
Very, very competitive. Now we have, let's take a look. They have the difference between the first. Now we have to, understand that the time, of course, the first group, it's already in the screen, but now we have a very good time of Enzo Elias and Weisheimer. They have the first pair to reach 141.744. What a lap, Sergio.
Yeah, that belongs to Enzo Elias. Enzo Elias, who won the second race for the Sprint Carrera Cup Championship at Termas de Rio Hondo. He's the only driver so far in the Sprint Championship for Carrera Cup to have 3 wins. He has 3 wins in 8 races this year. He's a very young driver, 20 years old, and he's not leading the championship, but he's really hungry for his first title, to get his first title. Now we see Rafael Suzuki, the Porsche number 70. Rafael Suzuki trying to improve his time. Enzo Elias so far is the fastest, then Cesar Ramos, Denis Dirani, Nicolas Costa, and Alan Hellmeister. Alan Hellmeister is in the Porsche number 87, racing with Nelson Monteiro. Now he falls to 6. A little bit over 1 minute to finish the second qualifying session, and then we'll sum up the best times for the regular drivers and the guests to find out who will start first in the race this afternoon. And again, we'll start at 1 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Brazilian time, or 1 p.m. Argentinian time, which will be 4 p.m. GMT or 12 p.m. US Eastern time. So be sure to follow us here for the first endurance race this year for the Porsche Cup Brazil.
Now we have already 5 drivers in the 141, 7, 9, 141, as starting of seconds. So it seems that the track is getting better in terms of grip as well. We have Enzo Elias with the fastest lap, but Rafael Suzuki, Denis Girani, Diego Nunes, Gressi, they are all there. And now Hellmeister has the second best time. So what a lap of Enzo Elias, huh? He is the only one with 141.5. All the others are 777 and 999. So Enzo Elias find a very, very good lap. And now we are watching Rafael Suzuki trying to beat his mark.
Yeah, at this point, Felipe, Miguel Paludo and Denis Zirani have the overall best time combined. The combined time for Miguel Paludo and Denis Zirani, and then the second best is Lucas Salles and Rafael Suzuki. So as of now, this will be the front row for the race this afternoon. Enzo Elias is doing a great job, of course, but Adroaldo Weisenmeyer didn't have such a good time in the first session. So Enzo Elias is trying to compensate it, but their definitely not going to start in the front row for the race this afternoon. There we have the checkered flag. So pretty much, there comes Nelson Piquet Jr. He's giving everything there, trying to improve his time in the Porsche number 29. He's currently 11th among the drivers who are on the track. There you have Rubens Barrichello. Let's see the effort by Rubens Barrichello, who is in the car number 3. He races with Franco Giaffoni. Rubens Barrichello is 7th best so far, Felipe. And we are about to finish, so probably the best time. Rubens Barrichello will be in 7th in this session. And there, Felipe, we see the beautiful surroundings of the Rio Hondo track, the Rio Hondo track. Nice building there. I'm sure it's the entrance for the track. So it's really, really nice around. This area is a very touristy area of Argentina, where they have spring waters. Waters go up to 50 degrees Celsius. And they say, Felipe, is good for high blood pressure.
Exactly. I didn't know about the high blood high blood
Felipe.
pressure.
I don't know. I gotta try going there.
Yeah, me too. Me too. When you mentioned, I said, okay, so I need a ticket to go there, get better. Rubens Barrichello is coming back to the pits. So now they will have to fight in the race to have a better result. Of course, we have a tough situation. Maybe in a few moments, another time, the images of the venue, the surroundings of the track. What a beautiful place, and what a very tough qualifying, very competitive. So we are expecting to see this in the race as well.
Yeah, there you see, you're arriving in an helicopter at the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. Beautiful facility. And another thing very important, I would say, Felipe, is that this race is happening in a weekend with not so many international events. We don't have Formula Indy, we don't have Formula One. We had the final race for the Formula E Championship, but it was in South Korea, so it's already over. We have a NASCAR race today, a NASCAR Cup, but it's later in the afternoon. So Porsche Cup Endurance will be really the main category. There we see the grid for the race this afternoon. Denis Girani and Miguel Paludo, Suzuki and Lucas Salles will be in the front row, then Diego Nunes and Christian Ham, Nicolas Costa and Jeff Giassi second row, Beto Gressa and Enel Pires, Danilo Dirani, he's the brother of Denis Dirani, with Renan Pizzi, then Nelson Piquet Jr. and Rodrigo Melo will be 7th best time, Gabriel Casagrande, Roman Zinkiewicz, Alan Hellmeister and Nelson Monteiro, and then Ricardo Zonta and Werner Neugebauer. This will be the top 10 on the grid for the race this afternoon. Definitely a very, very strong grid. And I would highlight Ricardo Suzuki and Lucas Salles, because they are from the sport class and they combined the second best time.
So we have a lot of great drivers in the first rows. We have Denis Girani and Miguel Paludo are very strong combo, because Paludo is an amazing driver, we already mentioned here, and Denis Girani is a kind of a coach of drivers on Porsche Cup when he is not racing. Sometimes he's the guy who tests the cars. So this combo, Denis Girani, who was a very, very good go-kart driver in the past when he was a kid, and Paludo is a very, very strong combination, and I think they are a favorite. I wouldn't say just one favorite, but we have like 4 or 5 duels who can win the race, but for sure Girani and Paludo are really, really strong and very balanced pair of drivers.
Yeah, I'll be definitely looking forward for the race this afternoon. Be 300 kilometers or 2 hours and 45 minutes, whichever comes first. Probably we'll have the 300 kilometers. We don't see the weather conditions are perfect for the racing, so we are not having any rain or anything. But of course, we never know, Felipe, what might happen during an endurance race. So we might have to go up to the time, to the 2 hours and 45 minutes. But for sure, it will be something really nice to watch, really exciting to follow these drivers. And it's an interesting race as well, Felipe, because as we have different levels of drivers, sometimes we see one driver, he loses ground during his stint, but his partner gains ground during the next stint. So it always brings very, very interesting situations on the track.
Exactly. So many situations can, appear in the endurance race, technical problems, when they change the drivers, always you have, opportunity to lose or gain time, battles, recover. You can be, in the back and do a lot of overtakes, and even the opposite. You can be leading the race and, be attacked by other drivers. So there are so many, situations that can happen in an endurance race. So I'm looking forward to this race, and I'm quite sure we will have a show today between those drivers.
Now we see the cars for the sprint challenge preparing to hit the track. We'll have 10 cars. There will be the pole position overall for them, but they will start all together during the race. So it will be very, very interesting. All the cars will be together. So at the moment of the race, we'll have 34 cars, but these 10 cars will now decide their pole position, their situation, because it's a different championship. So, of course, also an interesting thing, Philippe, is that in theory they can win the overall championship. So, let's say if a sprint challenge car arrives ahead of the other Carrera Cup drivers' cars, it can be the car, the champion, and the duo, the drivers can be the overall champions.
Exactly. That's really interesting in Porsche Carrera Cup, because you have opportunity to anyone to be the champion, to be the winner, and even with the difference of the setup and the power of the car, the general, the sports, the rookies. It's not impossible to say, it's not a lie to say that everyone can win. It's true, everyone. Of course, some drivers have more chances to be the winner, but the win is in the reach of all drivers who will race in this afternoon.
We are waiting for the green flag for the first session for the sprint challenge. We already have 3, 4, 5 cars now getting ready to hit the track. Júnior Dinardi, André Gaidzinski, Ricardo Fontanari, Sadak Leite, Piero Cefali, Marco Billy, Carlos Renault, Nelson Marcondes, Eamon Darwich, and Josimar Júnior will be the drivers to hit the track. Now you see there the car for André Gaidzinski. There he is waiting, taking the photograph. He is going to race with Ramon Alcaraz. So some of the drivers, Felipe, that race in the sprint challenge category, they are partnering with other drivers for the sprint challenge category. So it happens, and some others are partnering with professionals. For example, we will see now Luis Razia and Sergio Gimenez among the guest drivers.
And this is quite nice to see, because Luis Razia, he was a very, very good driver in the series before the Formula One. He tried everything to be in the grid of Formula One. He fight for the championship of GP2. He was, runner up. He lost to Davide Valsec. I remember when they fight for the championship. I was in the race in Singapore. It was really nice. I remember an interview of Valsec, and Valsec saying so many good things of Razia. Razia was a test driver in Formula One, and he was even announced as a driver of Formula One. But he had a problem with the sponsor to pay the place, to pay what he was supposed to pay in terms of sponsorship, and he lost the place. And then he was so disappointed. He tried to drive in the US, but he was so disappointed. He fights so hard to be part of the F1 world, and then he stopped to race. And now he works with investments, and this race is his first race in a long time. It's so nice to see Luis Razia racing. He's a very nice driver, very friendly, and I'm quite happy to see him in Argentina having this opportunity to race with the Porsche Cup, with the Carrera Cup, and the Sprint Challenge. Now we have the Sprint Challenger drivers, so I'm very happy to see Razia racing this weekend.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to see him driving. I agree very much with you. Another great driver who will be there is Sergio Jimenez, who has a great past in racing, still a very good race car driver, a very accomplished one, and he'll be racing with Eamon Darwich, who is a very aggressive driver. Felipe, Eamon Darwich is one of the reasons we watch with lots of pleasure the Porsche Sprint Championship, because he gives everything different. It's always a certainty of a good show when we have Eamon Darwich on the track.
Yeah, this is a very fast and aggressive pair. Sergio Jimenez is another fantastic driver. He had a lot of opportunities. He was one of the best go-kart drivers in the Brazilian history. He was really good. And then he tried to race in Europe. He didn't have a lot of money in terms of sponsors. He started to race in GP2 in the beginning of the series, but he was not able to finish the season. Then he came back to Brazil. He had one opportunity here, other opportunity there, but nothing really fixed. As a regular driver, he had problems in terms of manage the sponsor things, and he had a huge highlight in his career. He won the championship with Jaguar Trophy electric cars, a kind of preliminary first race behind Formula E championship. He was the champion. He was a very good driver there, and then he came back to Brazil in another level. He raced again in stock car. So Sergio Jimenez, as you, is a very good driver, and I'm sure he is in a position to fight for this victory this weekend.
Yeah, now we see the Sprint Challenge Porsches hitting the track. First one was Nelson Marcondes. Nelson Marcondes is a really fast. Second is Eamon Darwich with the number 555. And at the same, we'll have 10-minute session with these drivers. And then after a 15-minute break, we'll have another 10-minute session with the guest drivers, and the overall time combined, the combined time overall will decide who is going to start first. Again, we have beautiful aerial views of the Rio Hondo, Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. At the very end there, you see the end of the back straight with its turn to the right. It's a very important passing point, as we see Eamon Darwich with the number 555. He's still preparing, warming up his laps. Felipe, But soon, like we saw before, with 5 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go, we already will be seeing these drivers trying to set up their best laps. There we have the competition. The race again will be at 1 p.m. local time this afternoon, 1 p.m. Brazilian time as well, 4 p.m. GMT, or at 12 p.m. US Eastern time. This is the first day of the 2022 Endurance Championship, Porsche Cup Brasil, Porsche Cup C6 Bank MasterCard Endurance Championship. First race in Argentina, second race will be in Goiânia, which is a city very close to Brazil's capital, which is Brasilia. And then the third race, Felipe, will be at the Temple at Interlagos, which is by far, I would say, the most important track in Brazil.
Yeah, by far. It's going to be a huge event. As I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, I was there in the sprint race 1 month, kind of 1.5 months ago. What an event. The race, the facilities, they have a show, a very nice show of a very big artist in Brazil. So I was there and I was thinking, Sergio and viewers, that I could be there with my wife and my kids, because Porsche Carrera Cup, the Porsche Cup in Brazil, they provides an event for all family, not just for, crazy heads in terms of motorsport. If you go in an event of Porsche in Brazil, in Argentina, I'm sure you will be really happy to have a moment, not just of motorsport, but as an entertainment event. It was amazing back 1 month, 2 months ago, and I'm quite sure in the end of the year, it's going to be quite amazing, this 500 km endurance race in December.
Eamon Darwich, the time there it froze. We actually have less than that to the end of this first session. Nelson Marcondes, Eamon Darwich is the fastest so far, but he's still very slow compared to what he can be. He had his lap at 1:50.590. Nelson Marcondes 1:53. And now André Gaidzinski is the second fastest with 1:50.609. Carlos Renault with the 1:45. Carlos Renault is racing with Luis Razia. And there we see Nelson Marcondes. Nelson Marcondes with his Porsche. He won the race on Friday. He is being really, really fast. Right now, we have Josemar Jr. as the fastest driver. But remember, that time there is not counting. We have a lot less time to go than 7:48. We have a little bit over 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Let's see what Nelson Marcondes can do. Right now, Josemar Jr. is the fastest one. There you see, you don't have any time there yet so far on the top because it's frozen. But in the live time, you can see Josemar Jr. is the fastest driver with, now it's Eamon Darwich with 1:47.622. Nelson Marcondes, 1:46.091. is the fastest driver so far. Ricardo Fontanari second, and then we have Eamon Darwich. That's Ricardo Fontanari with Porsche number 1734. Actually, this is not Fontanari. Yes, Ricardo Fontanari. Usually he races with number 17, but he's racing in the endurance with number 34. So he doubled his number, but the livery is the same. So that's Ricardo Fontanari for sure. A little bit over 3 minutes to go now. A little bit over 3 minutes. Nelson Marcondes, 1:46.091. It's his best time. Ricardo Fontanari is the second fastest, and then Mauricio Billi is the third fastest. Actually, Marco Billi. No, it's Mauricio Billi. It's showing Mauricio Billi racing. These are the duo, Felipe, of Mauricio Billi and Marco Billi. So, but they say here it's Mauricio Billi driving the car.
Yeah, and now the difference between Marcondes and the others are quite high. 4 tenths and then 1 second point one. He are really flying this beginning of the qualifying. He's really pushing hard, and now we have Darwich doing his job, trying to get better his time lap to achieve a better lap and a better position for the grid.
This is Mauricio Billi with a Porsche number 83. Let's see what he can achieve. Right now he's second fastest driver. And now, Felipe, I cannot do anything but hear the birds. You mentioned the birds, so now I have the birds in my ears.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Imagine how hard they are doing his noise, because we have a lot of Porsches racing in Argentina, and they are making her voice to be listening. I think we have a microphones there quite near, because it's unbelievable the noise they do. And now let's see what's happened. We are watching the Porsche 83 Billy. So let's see what happened.
These are Porsches number 991.2. These cars were driven by the Carrera Cup drivers until last year. Now the Carrera Cup has the 992 generation, the new generation of Porsche, and the Sprint Challenge drivers inherited these cars, and they are really, really happy with that. So they run the 991.2. Nelson Marcondes is the fastest as we approach the end of this qualifying session. Mauricio Billi, the driver in this Porsche, is the second fastest. Mauricio trying to improve his time. And now Ricardo Fontanari is third fastest. He ran 1:46.217. Mauricio Billi was not able to improve his time, so he stays in second. Nelson Marcondes is still the fastest driver there. He will race with Renan Guerra. Renan Guerra will be his guest. Eamon Darwich is fourth best time, and Josemar Jr. is the fifth best time. That's Ricardo Fontanari with the number 34. Third best time so far. Oh, look at that! Look at that. Who was that, Felipe? We'll have to find out. Really went off the track. Is it Mauricio? No. This is the car for Junior Dinardi.
Yeah.
Junior Dinardi. He was last. He is the 10th fastest or last fastest, and let's see what happened. Totally lost control, Junior Dinardi.
Yeah, and at least considering the situation for the race, at least he didn't crash. He spun very fast, in a very fast corner, in a very fast part of the track. Oh, this could be really worst. Thanks God he's coming back to the track. Of course, not a lot of time to improve his time, but he will be okay for the race.
Yeah, he will race with Yuri Alves. They belong to the rookie class for the sprint challenge category. While we see here, it's Sadak Leite with the number 66. Sadak Leite, which is the 7th fast overall up to this point. So best time, Felipe, was Nelson Marcondes, 1:45, 1:55. He was 8 tenths of a second faster than Ricardo Fontanari, who is the second fastest, and then we had Eamon Darwich in third.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable the difference. The gap between those drivers are almost 8 tenths. To be, it's 794,000. So it's a lot, my friend. It's a lot, and almost 1 second for the third. What? And here we have another spun, the 66 lady.
Sadak Leite.
Sadak Leite. It's interesting because I was watching the timetables. I was not watching the image, and I could hear the tires, shouting. And I said, "Oh my God!" And when I take a look in the track, he was spinning. So another driver that at least don't crash. What a view. What a view we have here in terms de Rio Hondo. What a place to be, not just for the race, even for tourism. Sergio Lago already said it's good for your blood pressure. So
Yeah, just if I could stay for a week in one of these houses, it would be good for my blood pressure, Felipe.
yeah, for mine too. It would be great, especially in a weekend of race, as we are crazy about motorsport and even MotoGP. Imagine to be there in a week of MotoGP. So the time difference, the gap between Marcondes and the others were huge. So let's take a look what happened next, because he's really in a good position.
Yes, after that, we'll have the final qualifying session to be the qualifying session for the sprint challenge guest drivers. And then we'll have set up the grid, the starting grid for the race this afternoon. We see there, it's looks like it's a hotel. It can only be a hotel there. Very interesting. I don't know if that's a real light. It's inside the hotel, but I think it works as a light as well. So
Yeah, it seems.
yeah. And this is a marina they are building, Felipe. They are building a marina there to put the boats in this area. Well, back to the Porsche, Felipe. That's what matters to us. We see the car for Ricardo Fontanari, and now Matheus Iorio is the driver who is going to hit the track in this car number 34. We see Fontanari talking to Iorio.
Então, o Paulo o Wyman ficou a meio décimo da gente e eu vou acabar brigando com o Guilherme, né? Segundinho ou terceirinho, a gente começa.
And he's explaining. So, actually, who's talking there is Matheus Iorio. Ricardo Fontanari had his helmet on yet, and Matheus Iorio was telling him what happened during the qualifying session, talking about Eamon Darwich, what was his position, and he was behind Ricardo Fontanari.
Exactly. It was a kind of reporter. He was doing the timetable for him. We were for 4 tenths or 6 tenths, and we should be here, we should be there. It's a kind of relationship that these teammates need to have. They need to work in the car. They need to have a very balanced setup, and they need to understand what is happening with the others. It was a very nice moment between, two drivers who are, fighting in the same direction to have a good result in this Sunday. As I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, so if you are not in Brazil, today, I know in the world is different, but This Sunday in Brazil is the Father's Day. So if you just arrived here in our broadcast, happy Father's Day. And let's be happy watching what we love most, which is very good motorsport cars racing.
That's it. That's it, Felipe. Thank you, and my congratulations to all fathers as well worldwide. Well, you see Ricardo Fontanari there. He got the second fastest time, just behind Nelson Marcondes. But as you mentioned, Felipe, the difference was huge between Nelson Marcondes and Ricardo Fontanari. Nelson Marcondes is a driver, Felipe, I've been paying attention to him. He's a driver that I believe next year he might be in the Carrera Cup, competing in the Carrera Cup Championship, because he's really having great performances in the Sprint Challenge Porsche in Brazil. And you saw that, Felipe, the official running away from,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Junior Dinardi. Go ahead.
I was muted here. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. The gap is huge. The gap in this series of 7 tenths, 9 tenths, every race is so close. When you have a driver doing this kind of gap, is because he find a way that no one else found it. So congrats to them. But as we know, we have an endurance race. We have another group. So a lot of things can happen.
One thing to point out, Felipe, is that the current leader for the Sprint Challenge Championship, the sprint races, of course, which are 25 minutes plus 1 lap, Raijan Mascarello is not participating in this race. So he is currently the driver that's really ahead of the pack in the Sprint Challenge Championship, but Nelson Marcondes is doing really well as well. So at this point we have Nelson Marcondes as the best driver among the regulars who are competing here in the Sprint Challenge Carrera, in the Sprint Challenge Porsche races we had here Thursday and Friday. We had 22 cars, and now we only will have 10. So overall 34 cars with 24 cars for the Carrera Cup. There you see what I believe it's Dinardi. The beautiful aerial view as well for the racetrack, Termas de Rio Hondo racetrack. Everybody is preparing there for the second and final session for qualifying, and then we'll know the overall starting grid. That's Renan Guerra, the car from Renan Guerra is preparing to be in the, he's already in the car, the Porsche 199. So he's going to be in the same car as Nelson Marcondes. And I would say, Felipe, there is a big chance that Renan Guerra and Nelson Marcondes will get the pole for the Sprint Challenge.
Yeah, for sure. Very good chances. Normally we have a very tough scenario when we move from one group to the other, because it's really possible to have a driver in a team doing the first time in the group A, and then his teammate to be the 10th in the group B, or the 5th, the 7th. But the difference we have in the group A, it's going to be really hard to see some changes. Okay, we will have some changes, but not all changes we are used to see, to follow in the series, because the first group was really aggressive in terms of time. And let's see what's going to happen next.
There is Mauricio and Marco Billy, who are competing together in this race. And there you see some public there watching the race. It's really nice to be able to go to a Porsche Cup race. And there you see the track in silence waits for the cars, Felipe.
Exactly. Now, not even the birds are saying. It's
No.
a total silence. No cars, no birds, just you and me, Sergio. Oh, the car is again. The cars
Yeah.
are already racing.
I think he is just scouting the track, looking to see if everything is okay before the drivers hit the track for the second qualifying session. Pretty much all drivers are ready to go, just waiting for their authorization. Again, this is number 199. That's Renan Guerra in the car. Nobody, there is nobody yet there. Waiting to go. So we still have maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, Felipe. So the cars will hit the track.
Exactly. Now we have the group B of challenge, the sprint challenge. It's gonna be really interesting. It's interesting to point. We have in the Carrera Cup we had times in the margin of 1 minute 41, and we have 1:45 in the challenge. So this in the race is really important. How you manage to overtake slower cars. And now again, the fantastic images. This is the image of Museu. We have the image of Senna, the image of Fangio, two legends of the motorsport in all planets. For many people, these are the discussion of the best drivers ever in Formula One: Fangio, Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton. So it's really nice to see in Argentina this memorial. Of course, Fangio is a legend in Argentina and all over the world. And to see Senna there, because people know that Brazil and Argentina, they have a huge rivalry, but especially in football. It's not a country. We are not talking about two countries who had war in the past. No. It's more a kind of joke, fun stuff between two countries. And of course, football, the situation is really, really, really hot. We have a very tense moments. But when we mention another stuff, the respect is mutual, as we could see in that image with a museum in the Termas de Rio Hondo track.
Yeah, there is even the dispute between who was the best soccer player ever, if Pelé or Maradona. Of course, I know your answer, Felipe, which is the same as mine. I believe, but Argentinians, for them, Maradona was the best soccer player ever. Of course, for us Brazilians, it was Pelé.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
anyway,
Yeah, for
and you
sure.
see there, Felipe, the big logistics for these cars. A lot of these cars are already on the trucks, getting ready to a convoy that will bring them back to Brazil. It's over 2,000 kilometers from São Paulo to Termas de Rio Hondo. So it's way far from São Paulo. So that gives an idea, and it's very interesting also in the logistics. We talked a little bit about that, but I was listening to an interview from Denner Pires, who is the organizer he's the man behind the Porsche Cup in Brazil. He's the one who started everything. He's the man who made everything grow. But he was talking about the logistics, Felipe, and he said the most important, the most challenging thing is customs, because they have to time exactly to get the cars out of Brazil in the Brazilian customs, to get into Argentina in the Argentinian customs. They have to be a time that has to be correct, and everything has to be perfect for this operation.
Yeah, for sure. Denner, first of all, Denner Pires, man, he's a great organizer. He works hard. He thinks all the time how to make his series better, and he does year by year a better job on Porsche, Carrera Cup, Sprint Challenge, new cars, new parts for the cars. new drivers, what Denner does in Porsche GT Brazil, Porsche Brazil, Endurance Brazil, and Sprint as well. Of course, we have different competitions. It's amazing. This guy needs all our respect because he worked hard. Is it even tough to have to get some minutes to talk to him, because he is working and working and working so hard to make the series get bigger and get stronger and get more to be more organized. It's the Porsche is really well organized and year by year getting better. So compliments to Daniel Pires and his team. Of course, he doesn't do alone. He has a very good team working with him, and this event in Argentina is a kind of proof they are doing a better job every single season.
Yeah. There you saw the driver Enzo Elias. Enzo Elias, who was the fastest in the second session for the Carrera Cup. He didn't get the first row. He was not even among the 10 best because his the other driver of the car didn't do a good time, who was Adroaldo Weissmaier. But now, Felipe, we have the cars for Sprint Challenge, the guests hitting the track. So now it's a little bit under 10 minutes, and then we'll know who will be the fastest duos for the Sprint Challenge for these qualifying sessions.
Exactly.
We have Sergio Ramalho. Go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm very anxious to see Hazia. It's not going. This will not be easy for him. Of course, he's a fantastic driver, but it's a kind of 6 years with no race at all, and then jump to race in a very competitive series. I think he will have some tough moments, but talent to manage the situation he has. Let's see how it goes.
This is Sergio Ramalho in the Porsche 777. He partners with Josimar Jr. Let's see what he can do. All the drivers are already on the track. There are 10 drivers on the track. And that's, again, we highlight the number 777 being driven by Sergio Ramalho. Let's wait under 8 minutes to go. We see Renan Guerra. Renan Guerra has lots of responsibility, Felipe, because Nelson Marcondes had such a great time. Of course, Renan Guerra, we expect him to keep this Porsche 199 ahead of the Sprint Challenge, all the Sprint Challenge cars, but he has to perform.
For sure, he has to perform. Now we have 7 minutes to go, so it's gonna be interesting because the situation that the Group A brought to the Group B, it's in some situations we have a huge gap. So it's going to be really important for those drivers who are on the track now to deliver a good time in order to start in a good position.
Under 7 minutes to go. Then we'll have the complete grid for the first Porsche C6 Bank Mastercard Endurance Championship 2022, which this year starts at Termas de Rio Hondo. After 2 tough years, 2020 and 2021, everybody knows why. It has nothing to do with Porsche. It has to have with the pandemic situation we face all over the world. Porsche Brazil goes outside of Brazil for this race at Termas de Rio Hondo at 3,805 meters, 14 turns, run clockwise. So it's a very, very nice circuit, very wide track, lots of opportunities for the drivers. And be sure to tune here with us starting at 1 p.m. local time or Brazilian time, Argentinian time, Brazilian time is the same time, or 4 p.m. GMT or 12 p.m. US Eastern time. And then we'll have all these guys, 34 cars hitting the track, 68 drivers competing to see who is going to receive the checkered flag ahead of the first Porsche Cup C6 Bank MasterCard Endurance Championship in 2022. Sergio Ramalho is the fastest so far, 1:46.349. Then we have the Porsche number 74 being driven by André Bragantini. Luiz Razia so far is third fastest, Felipe Mota.
Yeah, so far Razia has a good, good time with a 1:47.0.1. He was third, now he's fourth in this group. But it's gonna be interesting. We have a huge mix of rookie, sport, and the general series. We don't have, first the general drivers doing the first, second, and third positions, and then sport, and then rookie. We have a huge balance here. It's gonna be interesting to see how they will manage the last 4 minutes in this group.
Sergio Ramalho again is the fastest driver. He's the only car competing in the sport class for the sprint challenge. So sprint challenge is sport class. It's Sergio Ramalho with the number 777. Luiz Razia right now is the second fastest with 1:45.329. So these drivers are getting better times each lap, Felipe, under Sergio Ramalho. But so far, no driver went under 1:45, 1 minute and 45 seconds. Sergio Ramalho got really close, but he's not there yet.
Exactly, very tough. See, the second is 1:45.3, the third 1:45.3 again. No, now we have Iorio Matheus Iorio doing a huge lap. Just Iorio who talked to Fontanari in the end of the Group A, talking the situation. He's trying to push hard to bring his team in a good position. Jimenez as well did a very good lap. What a fight, what a fight. And now we have Fabio Carboni, amazing driving, doing his show. Now the times are getting, faster and faster.
Yeah, 1:44.238 for Fabio Carboni. Matheus Iorio is second fastest, then Sergio Jimenez with number 555. So there is Sergio Jimenez with the gold car, gold number 555, the gold painted car. Now we have a number detail for Marco Billi with the number 83. Again this car number 2, but now is Yuri Alves, pardon me, Felipe, also Yuri Alves, who is there at the car number 002.
Yes, for sure. Another spin, another problem with the car number 2. At least he didn't crash. 2 minutes to go. It's gonna be really hard to come back to the track and do a lap. He's stopped. Dinardi is stopped. Alves now. Yuri Alves is stopped. Let's see if he can manage to come back and and do another time, another lap. But it doesn't seem he will get back to the track.
This is Luiz Razia trying to improve his time. He's fifth at this point. Razia, who races with Carlos Renault. So let's see what he can do. Carlos Renault, who in the first session, let me check here, he was the 7th fastest. So Carlos Razia has a tough task ahead of him to put this car ahead. About 1 minute to go in this fourth and last qualifying session. We had already 3 qualifying sessions. First 2 qualifying sessions for the Carrera Cup. Each driver competing in one of the setting up their time, his time in the first qualifying session, in each of the qualifying sessions. And there is the 002 still there, Felipe. Still there.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Long time, and this is terrible for the other cars as well, because I imagine a lot of yellow flags, so the people cannot push when they drive by there. So it's gonna be, it seems to be harder to get better the times. So I think the times we have in the screen, it's gonna be pretty much the end of the session.
Yeah, and Renan Guerra with the 199 is the fastest, 143.661. So he really had a great time, Renan Guerra. And for sure, Felipe, Renan Guerra and Nelson Marcondes will be pole position for the sprint challenge category.
Yeah, let's see. Now we have the clock in the 0. So let's see the last moments of the qualifying in the sprint challenge race.
There comes Luis Razia. He is 6th overall at this point with the Porsche number 145. Fabio Carboni with Porsche number 66 is the second fastest. He is going to race with Sadak Leite. Sadak Leite was the driver in the first qualifying session. And then we have Matheus Iorio right now is the 3rd fastest. And Sergio Jimenez is the 4th fastest. And I believe that's it, Felipe, because I don't think any other car will try to cross the checkered flag, or maybe, I don't know, if there is still one driver there.
Hey.
Yeah, there is one. Let's see if there is any change there. I don't think there will be. No, there is no change. There is no change. That was car number 74 for André Bragantini. André Bragantini was 8th overall.
Yeah, André Bragantini, who just released his book, speaking about his life. He is a winner as a person. He won so many tough situations in his life, and it's really nice. And he is a very good driver. And not just a driver, he's a man of the motorsport as a team principal, as a team leader. So it's really nice to see André Bragantini race in Argentina as well.
Number 14 is Ramon Alcaraz. He partners with André Gaizinski. Ramon Alcaraz, who was the last. He was the last in this session. And there he is, Renan Guerra. This is the car who is going to start on the pole for the Sprint Challenge. They all start the race together, Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge, but officially Renan Guerra and Nelson Marcondes will have the pole position for the Sprint Challenge. Beautiful car, Felipe. I like this black and white livery scheme. It's really nice. Livery.
Me too. It's a kind of, it's a kind of show, the kind of paintings we have, the designers, the layout of the cars. When we see those cars in person, it's amazing. It's really amazing. They do a kind of show, and it's amazing how they maximize the properties, the sponsors. It's really nice the way he developed not just the car in terms of racing, but in terms of business as well.
Yeah, it's quite a show. I really recommend anybody who can attend one of the Porsche Cup Brazil races, the Porsche Cup C6 Bank Mastercard races in Brazil. I really recommend, if you have the opportunity, go there and enjoy. Because also, Felipe, they are very disputed races. It's not like Sometimes you see one driver way ahead of the other. No, there are lots battles for position. You saw, Felipe, the first two races here at Termas de Rio Hondo, Thursday and Friday. Lots of disputes going around in many parts of the track.
Exactly. So now uh, we are, waiting the next steps, and I am quite sure the endurance race is going to be really interesting. We saw the how we had some drivers finding a way to have a huge lap, but the competition was so close in some parts of the grid, so it's going to be a long way to see who's going to be laughing and celebrating after 64 laps.
There is in the middle the Argentinian flag rising above the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. A beautiful day for racing. It's a perfect day. It's kind of a dry region in Argentina, this region of Santiago del Estero. That's the province where Termas de Rio Hondo is. But of course there is rain sometimes, but the weather is being perfect for so far this weekend for the Porsche Cup event. We see some of the image. This will be the pole position. Felipe, the car number 7, Rafael Suzuki will start in the front row as well, so it'll be really interesting.
For sure. It's gonna be really interesting. Now I love this moment when the camera gets some images of the drivers, talking to the teammates or preparing themselves for the next part, or watching the screen with the times, just understanding what they need to do. So this is really interesting.
And now it's time for the mechanics, the engineers to prepare the cars. It's important to know that in the Porsche Cup Brazil there is only one team, which is the Porsche Cup Brazil, that it provides the cars for all drivers. But each driver has one engineer to work with him. Each driver has one mechanic, at least one mechanic to work with him. So this engineer, this mechanic, they are doing all year with these drivers, but overall the preparation overall for the cars is made by Porsche Cup Brazil in its headquarters in São Paulo. We're watching some of the images of the preparation. So I'm excited, Felipe, to wait for 1 p.m. local Brazilian time or Argentinian time to watch this race with the 34 cars going into the track.
Me too. There are so many interesting, situations in the grid. Drivers coming back as Luis Razia, drivers, very international stars as Rubens Barrichello, Nelson Piquet, Ricardo Zonta. We have the established drivers in the grid as Miguel Paludo, Werner Neubauer, and others. So it's going to be really interesting. All these elements in 64 laps, in almost 2 or even more hours to understand who's going to be the winner. It's going to be really interesting to see what this car is from Melo and Nelson Piquet. As I mentioned, really beautiful car. So there are so many things to enjoy in the race. Let's see how it goes, the endurance race in Argentina.
There we see Christian Ham, who is being really strong at this year's championship. That's the car for Enzo Elias, who is going to race with Aldo Weissenmeyer. Remembering Enzo Elias was the fastest in the Group B. And there we have also car number 77 of Francisco Horta and William Freire. So I always want to remember you, the race will be at 1 p.m. Brazilian local time, Argentinian time, or 4 p.m. GMT, or 12 p.m. US Eastern time. So be sure to be here with us for 300 kilometers or 2 hours and 45 minutes, whichever comes first, for the first round of the 2022 Porsche Cup C6 Bank Mastercard Endurance Championship. So that will be a great opportunity to see these drivers hitting the track, but not working to get the best time, working to get the best position, working to be ahead, working to get the checkered flag at the end of this first endurance race for the 2022 championship, which will also race in Goiânia, in the central part of Brazil, close to Brasilia. Thank you very much, and see you all!